Thought I'd come on for a quick one. I'm not going to have a chance to come on in the next little while because I've got loads of reporting and stuff to do, so I'm going to be busy over the next 2 or 3 weeks. So I thought, not doing much now, so I might as well come on and say good day and hopefully don't get too much trouble. But it's a good time for me to do this. So we're coming toward the end of lockdown. It's Tuesday. No, it's Monday. We're going back to work on Thursday. And there's all sorts of end of term stuff, which means, yeah, I'm going to be really, really busy. So, hello, Falcon Good. How you going? Mark, how are you today? Hope you're well. I certainly am. Hey, Daniel, how you going? Mad Kiwi, how are you? Greg, not much with Triggs, just sending loads of stuff off for the XC, not loads, the headlights and a few other bits and pieces. And I'm going to sort of stalwart with that soon because I've got to take the gearbox out again. Graham, wonderful Graham, has offered me, hey Grant, how are you? A clutch fork, because the clutch fork failed. I got the car to the end of the driveway in that video and pedal into the floor. I think it's bent or something. I haven't even been under to look at it, but I know what it is. I wasn't happy with the modification I did to it. It was rubbish. So I thought, you know what, it's all good. Hi, Tim. Yep, thanks for that. I'm happy with the XC, really happy. So the lights, they'll be another 2 or 3 weeks. And then the guards, Graham's been doing more with the guards. He reckons one of them is one of the best he's seen. He's done such a lot with it. Good to see the MG fire up. Yeah, the battery was a bit flat. I charged that up a while ago, then sort of left it on the bench. I use it when I need 12 volts for something. And yeah, went to stick it in the car and it nearly didn't start. But that car is brilliant. Thanks, Simon. Glad you're enjoying them. Liam, how are you? Good to see you, Liam. I hope you're enjoying the videos. Liam occasionally sends me, he texts me ads of cars for sale, and they're just incredibly high prices. XCs at the moment. And I've got a friend in Queensland who's got a GT, and he's looking for an XC now. He's sort of looking for an Interceptor, and I know where there's one, but I don't know how ready he is to sell it. I think he will. Hope I'm good. Yeah, I am. Hugh, thanks very much. Huge. I always get yours huge. Is it huge away? How do I get my glasses clean as yours? Use that. And what are those? I did this just before. And my other ones too. These ones are clean. Well, they get them dirty pretty quickly. Steve, how you going? Thoughts on E-Series Falcons becoming classics? Yep, they will. They will. They're one of the more handsome Fords, I reckon, the E-Series. I reckon they're lovely, particularly EFs and ELs. EFs particularly, I reckon. Bruce, glad to catch a run from the go. Loving the vids as usual. Thanks very much. Getting back to the roots. Still waiting for more Mopar vids because I'm a glutton. Yeah, I've got to do more Mopar vids. I haven't done one for years. I didn't get in touch with a place in Mansfield. I went through the joint in Queensland. I rang them and I sort of got that sort of all organised. I didn't realise there was one in Mansfield. Sunny but chilly South Africa. Streetcar culture. Just watched Jason's video on his Turbo 323. I'd kind of like that car, but I think you're going to be using that as a daily, aren't you, Jason? I certainly would. And yeah, I've got no room for the bloody thing anyway. But I can always find room. Yeah, things like ED Fairmonts, V8 early. Well, the ED was on EB was the first V8 one to come back, I think, wasn't it? So eventually, all these things will become classics. They don't make them anymore. And normally, sort of EFs, ELs, AUs particularly, I think, pardon me, I think are at the bottom of their value at the moment. And this is what happens. They all go through their 20-year lull. If you think around, in the 90s, around 2000, XDs weren't worth anything. And now, look at them. Watch all your contents. Many support from me regards, Bill. Thank you very much, Bill. AU Falcons. Yeah, my brother's got one. He's got an XR8 Ute. That's a great car. I don't know much about them. I don't know much about BFs, BAs. What's the one after that? FGs. I don't know much about them, or modern ones. But yeah. So the next video is not going to please many people. It's on a fan. I was about to pull the GXL's grill off the wall, and someone said, "Nice." What was it called again? I can't remember what it was called. There's a fan up there, and it was from Rainmaker's Workshop, and so I pulled it down and I started doing it. XFs are heading up to 20k, really. Jason, no. I always sort of say this about him. He comes and goes. Jason, jump right. Sorry. He comes and goes. It's getting windy out there too. And he's gone quiet at the moment. But normally, when he sort of comes, you'll get a lot of contact from him. I've got to do his wiring for his Fairlane. And he asked me to do it, so I've got to do that. I went and got some more tape today, and I'm ready to do something with it. Yeah, the 323. We'll get in touch. We'll do a combined video, Jace. Jason's got streetcar culture, and he's got a very eclectic taste. He's like me. I think I mentioned this last time. And he kind of likes everything, I think. Mainly JDM stuff, I think. But, yeah, it's good. I do have to, and I was going to ask you what's a quick glow, is it? I was going to ask you, Grant, what that stuff was that you used on your bumpers. Is it quick glow, is it? It's like a crap everywhere on this desk. So is the chrome polish quick glow, is it? I normally just use coating compound like G'day Jared, how are you? What has William said? It's interesting that an XC Falcon 500 V8 is worth more than a ZHV and an LTD. Probably because they're reasonably unusual. Falcon 500s in around the late 70s, you had the fuel crisis. It's like Fairmont gear V8s aren't that rare in XDs, but Falcon GLs are a bit because people who were buying GLs were getting 6-cylinder ones. I got onto it from Jay Leonard, quick glow. So yeah, it's it was just the timing, I guess. But the paradox of it all is, when I met my wife, late 90s, I built her a Sigma, and my brother had a Wear It special, and he had this red body in his garage. It was straight, and I think it was manual originally, and my wife Susie only drove auto, so I got an auto gearbox, was 35 and a 2-litre engine and all this. Anyway, I built this car and it looked really good. She eventually got rid of it because it had a cracked block between the Welshie and the right mount. And it was funny because when she got rid of it, she started driving the DXD as a daily. And she didn't notice much in the fuel economy because the XD's engine's not working hard and the Sigma engine's pretty anemic. Where was that to? Mum's going well. She rang last night when I was talking to Neil McClymont, an old school friend of mine, and he's up in Queensland. I'm down here in Melbourne. And the phone rings. I said, Neil, I was on the phone to Neil for an hour and a quarter, and I don't normally talk much on the phone. I don't really like it much, but it was good talking to him. And Mum rings up, and it was good. She's going well, though she's having a second Pfizer COVID shot, and she's worried about the reaction. I can tell you that Fairmont, continue like that Fairmont. You love driving in the eye. Yeah, I can't wait to get into that thing. So I'm aiming. It depends on Graham. Gosh, what's his name? Graham. I beg your pardon. It depends on him and when he finishes the guards, because that'll be the thing that finishes the car. I've got to do the aluminium trims around the wheel arches and stuff. I think I still need one of those. I've got about 8 of them, but I think there's Fairlane ones there, and there's 2 right front ones and no left or something like that. That's all. Oh, Andrew, how are you? It's lovely to see you, Andrew Langford. You still working at Pick a Part? Okay, so streetcar. So Jason's saying, I love everything, but only play with these Mazdas because they were cheap. I love building an XA or XT. Eventually, like I bought my XC for $1,000. It was just a shell. It's an expensive way of doing it, though. Hopefully, you might do some work on the Plymouth. Yeah. Well, once the XC is finished, I've got to get the Bluebird on the road, but I've got to do that Plymouth. Ridiculous. It's in the way all the time. I want to be able to start it and move it. I kind of can't because it hasn't got brakes. Yeah. Okay. Morning, Pete from Kidderminster. Where is Kidderminster in England? I don't know that. Hey, thinking of car prices, like how much they are, how much value they are. So come from a guy who works and stuff in the driveway. No, lives. I don't think Hollywood with prices here in the US. Car prices. What are car prices like in the States? Jordan. Hey, Jordan. How are you, buddy? You've gone to Vico, is that right? Auckland. G'day, Steve. How you going? Should I sell my 351 Bronco? If you like it, you should keep it. There's something about something special about the cars we built for the woman in our lives. Yeah, or for the women in our lives. Yeah, well, she sold it because the block had a crack in it, and that was early on in the old house. But I don't know. I like all cars. I don't really care what it is. It's good to see, Andrew. Are these prices going to go? I reckon they will go down. And I always say this, and I reckon it'll have to do with JDM stuff, where the young kids now much prefer JDM than they do Aussie cars. And I'll tell you now, working on both of them, JDM stuff kills our cars in terms of working on them, fitting stuff up, it all fits, wirings, the plugs are all different, and they're all clipped in nicely every 10 centimetres or so. JDM stuff's just built better. And to drive it, I mean, you can drive an old 80s Japanese car, and it's good on today's roads. It's not clunky or anything like that. But there's something about our old cars that are sort of sentimental, and they're cool. Old Aussie cars are just cool. Got another job at Motorsport Place, which is a little more interesting. However, you don't get the characters you do at Pick a Part. You would get some characters at Pick a Part. I need to go down there and do some filming. I love going to the wreckers and taking a camera. I don't know if you're allowed to. I know at Jolly's and Ringwood they don't let you. There was a sign there, but I think they've taken it down. I always film at the wreckers. I love being at the wreckers. When I was a kid, 18 years old, I used to go down and had an LJ Tirana, and I used to go down. There was 30 LJ Tiranas, and half of them were 2-doors. It's like, God, imagine that now. Oh, Worcestershire. Worcester. Did you just say Worcester or Worcestershire? I think I know where that is. Is that in the Midlands? I watched all your videos on the Clevo builds, and I'm embarking on my own. Do you know much about the differences in the F100 Clevo compared to that found in sedans? No, I don't think there's any difference. I think they're the same. Some of the very late 82, was it late 82 XEs had pillow blocks in them, and the F100s are the same age could. I don't know. I think they're all the same then. Good to see you live again. Thanks, Roxanne. I sent an email a couple of days ago about the 4-speed gearbox seal kit, having trouble locating one. So that single rail gearbox kit. All right, so a single rail gearbox kit. I ended up taking the old seals out and going to bearing wholesalers in Bayswater and getting them, and I got the gaskets online. Got a 302 Cleveland with 2-rail and make seat. Should I go 4-barrel, Holly, or Thermac rod? If the car's in your name, I'd probably just put a Holly on. Thermac rods are a pain in the neck. If it has to go through the pits or roadworthy, they notice it doesn't have an EGR valve and everything, they could knock it back. If otherwise, I've still got a 2-barrel on the XW too, and I've got a 4-barrel there, and I've got a manifold there, and I still haven't done anything about it. So I probably should. Almost mystical, especially if you never experienced old muscle cars. Yeah. Why is there no Pick a Part in Queensland? I don't know. Shouldn't be an issue. You wanted to officially, you could chat to Emma and she'll give you official permission, I'm sure. I'm basically free advertising, so you know. I've got to find a guy I used to work with at Whitehall's called Warwick Rust. Does anyone know him? I can't find him on social media. I've only got YouTube and what's the other one? Facebook. And I looked around Facebook, cannot find him anywhere. And he had an XY351. And I think it was a K-code one. And he used to drive around. It was on gas. He used to drive it around everywhere. But I'd like to catch up with him. He had a daughter, Sophie, but I don't know what her surname is because Warwick's girlfriend at the time, I never knew her. Had an R32 GTR on the hoist right next to a V8 Commodore, only a few years apart. But I realised why we don't make cars anymore. Things such as the handbrake cable running through the body. Yeah, well, the build quality is different. You're from Yorkshire, David. I just finished watching your headlamp cookery video, and now I find you live. Looks like I'll be on the PC a bit longer, hopefully. The V8 Commodores are pretty good, I think. I mean, there's worse Aussie cars than V8 Commodores. So the next one's on a bloody cooling fan, like a desk fan. So car guys are going to go, what is he doing now? He did lawnmowers, now he's doing fans. But I can't remember the name of it. Warner. It's Warner something, and they're made in Footscray. Morning. Hello. How are you? Warner Drayton. That's it. So it's a Warner Drayton fan. I didn't know what Warner Drayton was. And I was getting down the grill from the XC, and someone left a message that said, something to the effect of nice Warner Drayton, and I had no idea what Warner Drayton was. So I Googled it, and in the images comes all these old fans. I'm going to say late 60s, early 70s. It's a metal case. Yeah, Warner Drayton. So I got it down. I thought, I've always meant to watch this because it was Mike and Dave had it under their lunchroom bench, the lunchroom table, and they had it on in the summer. And I pulled it down, and I need to scratch my back. I pulled it down, it was freaking dirty. So I thought, I'll pull it apart and have a look at it. And I pulled it apart. Next thing, I pulled the camera out. And next thing, I went down to see John at Virtual Gully Hydroblasting with the fan base. And oh, God, you know, I'm a glutton for punishment, but I thought they cleaned up well, but I thought it does need a paint job. You know what I mean? I've got some etch there, I've got some primer there, I've got some colour, I've got some Wimbledon left, and I've got a bit of Morris brown, and yeah, and I can mix a little bit of brown in to get that nice retro colour happening. So I've done that, and so that's the next video coming out. So you might see that and just head for the hills. But it's these back scratches that was from I think the Caribbean market, and I don't use these rolly things, but I'm too fat to reach around my back now, and I've got a rotator cuff injury too, and I can't bend back very well with my right arm. So you know what? It's like it's not everyone's cup of tea, that sort of thing. But I've got old mix masters. I've got one old mix master from the '60s, and I've got an old Hoover Constellation vacuum cleaner, and that kettle. Which way's that? Hang on, I've got to get it. How do you fucking do it? That jug there. I'm looking at it while I'm doing this, and I've got all these old sort of appliances, and I love them. And I don't know why, I just like them. Never bleed brakes before when doing it dry on my XZC Fairlane. Master cylinder isn't emptying when pumping the pedal any thoughts. Leave the way I did it on the XC and the XW, and I've done it on heaps of cars. If it's because those two cars had completely vacant lines, they were all new lines, new master, everything. I never bleed master cylinders on the bench because it's too messy, and so I just filled them up, opened up the rear nipple, the furthest one away, which in this case was the right hand with the left hand rear, and stuck a bottle and a thing on it, pumped it. I went down a little bit, then stopped. So then I got Rosie to sit in there and push the pedal down, locked off the nipple, bring it up, and I kept doing that, and eventually it all came through. The one I couldn't do was the Plymouth, which is a single circuit. Couldn't get it to go. But meant to ask when you get your bolts and whatnot replated, as well as hydroblasting. So hydroblasting's in Furniture Gully, in Gaydon Street. The guy's name's John, Furniture Gully Hydroblasting. He is the cheapest of all the hydroblasters, and he's the best. He's incredible. And he supplies the Healy factory use because they're a really high-end restoration house. I'm fine with them, and they use it. The plating, I go to Warner's Metro in Power Road in Bayswater. It used to be called Warner's Metro Welding. And for small items, they've got a guy a couple of doors down that does it, but he's very, very expensive. And a little sandwich bag of bolts will cost $80. But if you go and get copper wire, they'll give you the copper wire and wire up your own bolts if they're small, little things. You go and see a guy called Tubbs at the side door, and it's like a roller door up a driveway. And Tubbs will come in as an older Asian guy, great guy, good character, and just say how much. You go, yeah, $40, or $20, or if it's a lot, he'll say $60. I wouldn't go anywhere else. Yeah, no, go to Warner's Metro and see Tubbs. His name's Tubb. I don't know what his real name is, but I call him Tubbs because he's fat, which is kind of bad, but yeah, that's what he answers to. Any idea where you get the guards back? Can't wait to see the front door. Not going to push Graham. He is doing incredible work. He's a friggin' magician. He's like the South Australian young version of Scott Newstead. I don't know if he rolls stuff. He does roll stuff. Scott actually made custom guards for his 60 Fury. I mean, he really is quite on his own with some of his talents, but I'm pretty sure Graham's up there with him. But yeah, I'm not going to push it. He knows. Graham watches the videos. I'm sure he does. And he's probably seen that the car's almost there. But I'll have the headlights and everything back. I've got to do his Holden engines. I'm waiting on those to see what I need to do with those. And what's the other things that, yeah, once I got them back, I can put it all back together except the aluminium bit for the seals and that, and I'll have to get done with that. Oh, where am I up to? You got an old Hoover twin tub? No, I've got a washing machine with a wringer, a powered wringer, and I did a video on that years ago. I've still got that. It's in the shed. My C4 auto has a harsh shift from first to second. That's unusual in those. Even under low throttle, anything I can do. Yeah, there might there's two things it could be. The band adjustment, so low reverse band. Hang on, is it from first to second? Yeah, low reverse band adjustment. Or if you get under the car and look toward the front, on the right hand side of the bottom, just above where the pan is, there's a thing called a modulator valve, which has got a vacuum line from the engine coming down onto it. If you take that out, there'll be a grub screw right in the center of the vacuum port, and you can back it off to reduce the pin size. Yeah, so you would back it off to make it softer, I'm pretty sure. Have a look at the manual. Bike content's coming. Yep, I've got to get back into those bikes. I've got 4 motorcycles and none of them are finished. But I'll get back onto the bikes. I don't want to just blast around the streets on one of them. Seems like exotic cars are up 15% in the US, according to Hoovy's Garage. I think higher in Australia. Any economic fallout? Oh, any economic fall, we'll put that to bed though. Yeah, it does. Well, people, they use them like stocks and shares. They don't sell when there's a lull. They sort of hang on to them and then wait. I still reckon there's going to be a fallout with Aussie cars, but I don't know. Can't tell. The Australian Labor Party, when Shorten was the leader of the ALP, he was talking about taxing art because people make a lot of money investing in art, and I think cars as well, and that would be devastating as long as if they did it like capital gains, right? So capital gains tax happened in this country for second properties and stocks and shares and that sort of thing back in 1985, I think, or 86, and capital gains was exempt on shares that you had prior to that date. So if you traded after that date, that's when you got hit. And it also means that you've got to sell, or you've got to hang on to them as best you can. You don't sell within the first year because they tax you half. Where am I up to? I've got a dash. I'm supposed to be working on. Yeah. Oh, you're supposed to be working. You got a dash, and you got to go. Sorry. It's great to see you. Thanks very much. Get the sucky thing. I tend to like the pressure things for bleeding brakes because the sucky things can drag air from around the nipple. But to get the bleeding going, yeah, absolutely. And then after that, close the nipples off, pump the pedal up, hold it down, open the nipple and let it all, and you'll get rid of any small bits of air. Bleed the master first, crack the lines at the yeah. That's how we used to do them. I don't do them like that anymore, but it's probably the best thing to do. I just never do it like that because I don't like the mess, particularly on new paint. Good to have parts and friends hookups. I know a guy. Yeah, we've been lucky, haven't we? I'll watch this video. I have some time now. I just thought I'd come on and do a feed. But I need to watch some videos. I haven't watched Scott's either. Old school. G'day, John. How you going? Hey, Bender. Matt Bender's a mechanic from Nissan that I used to work with in the 90s. How you going, buddy? It's good to see you. Nothing seems to be coming out at all. Filled up pumps for ages. Not a millimetre down on the master. I haven't had that problem. Bender's a great mechanic. The guy has left a comment just above you. Yeah, look, some people recommend bench bleeding a master. I don't do it, but yeah. So, what did you actually pump the pedal with the nipple open to try and get a bit of flow happening, and then close the nipple off on the upstroke? That's how I've always done it. And then as you, when it starts flowing out, you're opening and closing as the fluid's coming out, then you lock them. Once I've done that to all four wheels, and I have one of my daughters in the car, then I get them to pump the pedal up, hold it down, then I open them and get rid of any small bubbles that way. But I haven't had trouble with a Ford dual circuit master doing that. I've had trouble with the Plymouth one doing that, but that was a single one, as I said before. On a Turbo 350, I tweaked the modulator around a Ford Type F in the Chevelle. Can you do that with a Turbo 350? They use Dextron. I use Dextron 2 in the C4 as well, because I don't think you can get the Ford stuff much here anymore, can you? Yeah, bang scratch all times into the throttle. Take the fluid out, put Dextron. Dextron's what General Motors use. Dextron 2 or 3. If I could buy a Toronto Shell one day, bring on the 4. I don't know what that means, Jared. 20th of September 1985, is that when capital gains came in, was it? Second cover will have a letter 8. Okay, I'm losing this. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe I'm missing a whole lot of stuff. Peter, I've been watching the XC build from the start and have learned a great deal from you in maintaining and keeping my 351 GXL going. Awesome. Have you had it for long? Have you had that car for long? Be good one to keep. Excited to see the XC. Is Charlie still liking the MG? Do you like it? The MG is a Chinese MG, which means it's probably even more reliable than a British one. Charlie still likes it. She has done 20,000 Ks now. I drive it around periodically to get pizza and stuff if it's parked in the way. And it's a really comfortable little car to drive. The only thing I don't like about it, when I went to check the oil, I looked in the rocker cover and it's got a timing chain about the width of a bracelet, and I thought that's going to break. And the other thing was it's got that faux leather, really fine faux leather on the seats, and I reckon that'll die, I reckon. But otherwise, it seems fine. Picked up my ex-wife Futura. I've been told these are rare. Know anything about them? You've got to talk to a guy called Michael Crump. And Michael Crump is a wonderful bloke. I think he's down in Phillip Island now. He was a parent for my school, and he's got an XW Futura. XW or XY? I think, yeah, he's an XW Futura. He gave me heaps of help on my XW. He knows all about it. That was his first car, and he's still got it now, and he's older than me. How to properly bleed power steering fluid without damaging the pump. Get the front wheels off the ground, fill it up, start it, stop it, fill it up again, start it, stop it. And then once it's all, you'll find it'll go like strawberry milkshakes and be that aerated, and just let it settle a bit. Top it up, start it, lock to lock, with no weight on the front wheels. Dot 4 doesn't damage paint. Oh, I didn't know that. Also, I hope you get to enjoy driving your cars, maybe do some cruise videos. I don't drive them much. You know what? I'm just an idiot because I finished the who was I talking to about this? I finished the XW in 2015 and it's got 700 miles on it. And those 700 miles, very few of them are actually nice outings. Most of it is just around the block to keep it going. What a waste. D2 is good for C4. Yeah, that's what I use. Because the Ford stuff they used to specify, okay, well, Bursons don't carry it. It's been great to see XC coming along. Is Castrol TQ95 for BTR boxes compatible with C4? I would use Dexron in a C4. I don't know if TQ95 is, but I think that's the stuff the later electronic 4-speeds use. I could be wrong. Hi Pete. Hello Harvey. How are you? Just on YouTube. Send me a notification this time. Woohoo. Oh yeah, I should. Oh, it did send you. I see. It did send you a notification. I beg your pardon. I've still got to give you $50. Actually, I'll do a bank transfer. I'll put your details. How come you're not down at the Falcon Car Club tonight? Because I'm in the Wolsey Car Club. I don't know where the Falcon Car Club is. I probably should join it. So you've had your GXL for 6 years, just repainted. Doesn't go fast, but sounds fast. Are you going to put back the handles on your doors or keep them chrome? I will. Oh, black on them. Yeah, I will paint them, but they're just a pain in the ass to get out. It's a crap job. Working on XC doors is just the worst job. And while it's there and it's in one piece, I'm leaving it. I've got to get the rear bumper done, and that'll be a John old school gig. But I'm not doing that at the moment either because they're sitting there and it's all good. There are jobs I need to do on it, but at the moment the main thrust is to get the gearbox out, fix up that clutch fork, stick the guards on, stick the front on, get it down, have a road with it. You should organise a drive one day. We can all drive up to the pub somewhere when the lockdown is finished. Yeah, that St Andrews seems to be where all the bikers go. Everyone likes going up there. Yeah, Martin, I answered that. I'm leaving it with silver till I get the thing on the road. And then it's one of those things, when I do its first service or something, I might be motivated to take him out and paint them there. Just wondering whether MEK would have helped you remove the cylinder from those headlight units. I don't know what that is. Don't know. Seem to remember the chrome trim on the XCs was painted flat black. Yeah, it was around the front and rear window and on the door handles. The rest of it, the drip rail mouldings and the mouldings on top of the front doors and around the wheel arches and everything was still left. Well, the wheel arch ones are polished aluminium, like the XW's ones. And I just used a, there goes that dog. I just used an old buffing pad on the buff with car polishing stuff. It goes black pretty quickly, but then they polish up beautifully. Clutch forks, yeah. Clutch forks are stupid, the aftermarket ones. Your opinion, is 351 better performing engine or Clevo? I would have thought Clevo because their breathing is a bit better. Oh, ketone. Yeah, I've heard of that, but I don't know much about it. I put a Windsor in the XW for a couple of reasons. One is I had one. I had that and I had a Clevo. Everyone puts Clevos in them. And I thought, well, the XWs came with Clevos in 1970. Mine's a 69. So I just thought I'd stick the Windsor in because John had it in his Mustang. It was by accident because I drove his Mustang up and down the street. And then when I went to see the engine, it was in a million bits. And I said, oh, he pulled it apart. I didn't know he pulled it apart. And I said, okay, well, buy. And he bought all these parts for it. So I paid him for all that. But he'd thrown out heaps of stuff. He'd thrown out valve springs and all this because he was going to use performance ones. So I had to get all that stuff. Clutch fork on the F100, I ran a weld down both sides to strengthen it. Graham's got a couple of them, but I reckon he's got a C8 number on them, which is 1968. So I'm sort of thinking, if they're not the right length, I don't really know what to do because the car's a single rail. Ah, thank you very much, Hannah. Thanks for doing my part in keeping Australian history alive. The 351 Winds is pretty heavy. It's not like a 289 302. Those things are light as a feather. Particularly if you put an alloy intake on them and an alloy water pump, 302 and 289 Winds is lighter than a 6. But the 351 Winds has got a much higher deck, and particularly if it's still running or it's cast, intake and water pump, it's going to weigh similar to a Cleveland. Cleveland heads actually look bulky, but they're not very heavy. So 351 and a Windsor and a Cleveland's probably similar weight. The good thing is well, actually, you can get sort of go fast parts for both of them. Really, they're not like a 350 Chevy where every corner store has them. Though. How are you going with the electric window issues? Did you fix it? I haven't looked at it yet. I've got another switch that I've got to try. But there was only one window that was giving me trouble, and it was the left-hand, right-hand rear. And the wiring in the motor's fine. So it's either in the combination switch up the front or in the actual switch in the back, on the back door. Do Windsors really rev better, do they? I didn't know that, Grant. Thanks. Ah, Jared. I got $10. Thanks, buddy. That's awesome. David Worth. Oh, David Worth. You're talking to somebody else. Yes. Sorry. Too many people sniffing the stuff. That's a dangerous thing, isn't it? Yeah, so try and ignore the fan video if you're not much into old electric fans, because that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'll be finished it pretty soon. John will call me tomorrow and all that stuff will be back. I'll etch it tomorrow, maybe put a bit of primer on. The Starlet's windshield, someone said there was adhesion issues, but it's not. It's the primer that's affected the, it's the, that black solvent-based, what do they call it? Urethane primer has got into the primer. It's got into the paint. It didn't touch the etch primer that I put down there. The etch primer is only single pack. And someone here might know, if they're a body and paint guy, I was recommended to use the 408 type stuff. So it's the 2-pack epoxy primer, which is carcinogenic. You've got to mask up. And this guy said, just mask up, right? Or mask up around the car and just brush paint it around where the window's going to seal. He goes, because it's not porous. And he said a lot of new cars that he's pulled screens out of have also lifted the paint. But now a lot of car makers don't paint under there. They just have that 2-pack edge, and then the body color goes up to it. But I haven't actually seen that. I've been told it, but I haven't seen it. Both have the dizzy at the right end. Y blocks don't. Y blocks have got it up the back like a GM car. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and it's good fun. I've gone in lockdown. I shouldn't say lockdown. It's good fun, but I have got a lot of reporting and a lot of corrections and that sort of stuff to do. So there'll be very little material in that time, I think. Heater fan on my Mazda E2000 is about to expire. Time to pull it. Hope it's an easy fix. If it's a Mazda with a lot of later Japanese cars, heater fans are dead easy to get out. And the reason is they normally have a blank duct between the fan, the blank duct, and then the heater box. And the reason for that is because then you can take that duct out and retrofit air conditioning in. Because air conditioning is never factory fitted on a lot of these Japanese cars. Well, it is now, but back in the day, they used to have it so it was dealer fitted, and they had to make it as quickly as sort of installable as quickly as they could. And that's why they used to make it so that you could just take that center duct out. And once that center duct's out, you can normally get to the heater fan. Did you really driving a T or A models? Hang on a minute. Did you really like driving a T or A model so much better? I've never driven an A. I've only driven Scott's T. That was weird, but it was good. Solvent similar. Oh, it's like acetone. It dissolves all sorts of stuff and welds some plastics. It's not expensive. I use it to clean things and build models. Yeah, the T, a Model T is difficult because they've got a reverse pedal and they've got a forward pedal and they've got a brake, and none of them are in the order you would think they are. I think the brake is on the left or the right or something, and the go pedal's in the middle. And I think the brake pedal's on the right, where you're accelerating all years. Is this right? And then forward is the middle pedal and reverse is your left pedal or something. So it's all quite interesting, that sort of thing. I had a lot of trouble, so I just drove that thing really slowly because I would never have forgiven myself by praying this car when I was over there. That would have been terrible. Well, what do you do if you're praying someone's car? It's like, oh, got to fix it. So, yeah, the XC, I've got to finish that dodgy boot lid repair, and it's just getting parts, so those reflectors will come back. So I build up the headlights, got to fix the grille. It's all stuff that is it worth a video? You know what I mean? I've done a few on the thing now, but how far do you go before you think, oh, you know, now I'm just filming bolts being cleaned up and this sort of, it gets boring, you know. So I've been sort of thinking about what sorts of things I can do. And it's like those jokes at the end. I ran out of jokes and I looked on Google and they're all just stupid jokes. And it's like, I can't have bad language or anything there because parents from school or kids from school could see it. So everyone knows 500,000 filthy jokes or pedophile jokes or something like that. No one knows genuinely funny ones that are clean. And the only funny ones that are clean, or they're not even funny, are dad jokes, you know, or stuff like that. So I started running out of those. So I was just stuck a video excerpt in instead. Rebuild the Plymouth Valve radio. Yeah, I could do. I have to, the other night, that was, yeah, the Plymouth Valve radio, I'll get to that first. I've got to recap it as well. And I might have to get someone that knows more than I do about that. It's got watts capacitors in. I can't just put a meter and measure their value because they're so degraded. And I don't even know if I can read what's on them. Do you know what I mean? If I can't read the value of the capacitor, I can't replace it. The joke the other night was hilarious. I found that was accidental. It was one of those life hacks shows, and they show, you know, just pointless stuff, you know, wrapping electrical tape around something to save this, or to getting a square and having a pin on it so you can keep a line and this sort of stuff. And they had this guy crashed in plastic bumper car. And I saw it and I thought he's using that spray expanding foam to fill in the dent and then bogs over that. I thought, you've got to be kidding. You can't do that. I have an XC. I'm watching your channel. Helped heaps, I should say, in fixing things and rust repairs. Quick question: have you tried to remove the lens from the housing of the XC indicators? I've got a couple of indicators. I haven't tried to move them, and the problem is there's a good chance you can't put them in the oven because they'll turn to liquid or they'll sag, and also the adhesive would be bonded on, probably like that acetone stuff they were talking about, that sort of thing. And it's I would have thought I might actually get new ones for mine. I'll buff them out and see what I like, but I think they're crazed. I think one of them's crazed, and if they're crazed, it's like, oh, I think they're still roadworthy as long as they're not letting water in or deflecting the light the wrong way. My reaction was priceless. Yeah, I just went, oh Jesus. What do you call fly without wings? A walk. You see, I can find that sort of thing funny, but I don't know how much. When you start getting into that, you really, you kind of got to run with it. Do you know what I mean? And dad jokes. Yeah, I don't know. The jokes I find funny are jokes that no one's supposed to laugh at when you can't put them down. Do you know what I mean? And so my sense of humour is quite offbeat. Can't see the dodgy bootleg repair in the video, but you have to respray it. You'll wait for better weather, yeah. I'll actually take all the paint off it and use that 2-pack edge, I think, if it's got rust anywhere on it. That was a spot that obviously didn't treat properly, and it came, and the boot was in single pack edge, which is porous. It was like that for 12 months, and that's the reason. But you can see it if the light hits it, but I will block it. I was going to do it in this video, but I dabbed a whole lot of paint on, and I'll just use electrical tape inside of it and just a fine block, and I'll just whittle it down like that, and then I'll just buff over it. I've done it before, and you pretty much get it to the point where you can't see. Grain ball, hello Grain, here we go. Hit him with the huge mungus joke. I always think of Benny Hill. And Benny Hill used to have this thing. He was standing in front of a thing that said therapist, and then he moved and it said the rapist. And I thought, well, you can't even say that now because of, obviously. Or Hugh Jarvis, which was a name. Stuff like that. But I used to laugh at his stuff. Evening from Auckland. I got back into the garage. Oh. I got to get back in the garage tomorrow and start to put a new head on my highlights. Oh, wonderful. Loving work on the XC, even though I'm a Valiant VG man. I think the lines are so blurred now. I think Aussie car people just like anything, don't they? I like Holdens, Fords, Chryslers. I don't care. Dad jokes, yeah. The one I always remember was not really a dad joke. It's what is long and stiff and contains semen. And you go, oh, what? Unless I submarine. Go to the VG. Expanding frame. I once read a home DIY manual where they recommended fixing a basketball-sized hole in a moggy with chicken wire and bog. I was sickened. The funniest one I saw was a guy I used to work with. I wasn't there. I heard about it though. And he had a Datsun 1200 like coupe, and he had a big hole like that behind the rear wheel, and he put cardboard over it, and then he filled in behind it with chicken wire. And his sister worked in a bakery, and he made this huge poultice out of about 2 loaves of bread, and he poured it into the chicken wire. And then once it went off, it went hard. Took the cardboard off, bashed it into shape a bit, and bogged over it. Stylies are going well, Andrew. The windscreen popped out of one of them because the urethane primer affected the paint underneath, but otherwise they're fine. Well, it's fine. There's only one of them here now. Love the jokes. Tell them to your 10-year-old niece. Yeah, and you have to. A 10-year-old child. I mean, you can't be telling them smutty jokes, but it took me a while to find some of them that weren't even that good. My daughter told me the Virgin Mobile one. What do you call it? Not in a wheelchair. And I thought that was very funny. And even that's a bit risque. I mean, you know. Would you ever get a ute of some description and join the XC? Yeah, I guess. If the right one came along. Plenty of good jokes. Are You Being Served? And the Paul Hogan Show. Yeah, Are You Being Served was all about Trevor Bannister trying to look down Wendy Brahms. Was it Wendy Brahms? Miss Brahms' skirt. He had a crush on her. Wendy Richard was her name, that's right. She died, actually. I'd say both of them died. Wendy Richard died. Most of the cast of Are You Being Served died. John Inman, Captain Humphreys, Mr. Humphreys, and Captain Peacock. They're all dead now. That's a shame. Paul Hogan Show was funny. But again, that was all looking at Dolby Delaney's legs, or her bust when she bends over. And, you know, they talk about rape culture. You can't have any of that now. And so I've got to watch it being a school teacher. I can't have any of that stuff. And that's why I thought I'd go into some of the fails videos and pull excerpts of that and sort of have a chuckle at that sort of thing. Watch Graham. Also, XA Coop guy last night been saying you get back on with your guards and pack them off. Wow. He was going to make a road trip. Actually, I've got to ring him. I've got to talk to him. I'm going well. How are you going? From New Jersey, USA. How are you going? Good to see you. Got American friends on. Howdy, Ariane. So close to the finish line. Been a long 6 years. Yeah. And I do this, and you know what? It'll almost be finished. I'll be like, yeah, I'm not going to do this. And it pisses everyone off. I've got motorbikes like that, remember? What's green and turns red at the flick of a switch? What? A frog in a liquidizer. That was like all the baby jokes. Remember the baby jokes in the 80s? What's more fun than swinging a baby around a clothesline at 200 miles an hour? Stopping it with a pitchfork. There was all those, what's red and blue and sits in the bottom of a pool, and it's a baby with its floaties deflated. There was all sorts of stuff like that. Bread poultice will heal anything, yeah, it does. Hey Kevin, how are you? The early 90s. Watching my dad bog up his GDS with a tin can and a stick welder and some bog. 9 to 10-year-old. Me found it hilarious to watch him swear and get mad about blowing holes through everything. When the metal gets thin, you start to blow holes, mate. I see you do a lot of cars. Would you consider a four-wheel drive? I've never enjoyed working on four-wheel drives. I've never really wanted one. But these days, cruisers, they're gold. What are you doing? Okay. What are you doing with the free XC4 dash frame thing? You talking about the fascia? You can have it if you want it. What do you call a sleepwalking nun? Roman Catholic. Leo Wanko. You know who I like? Nigel Lovelace. 11 years of old, 11 years of age, nearly 12, and he was this big guy on a skateboard who beat people up. Leo Wanker was funny because Leo Wanker, every time he did a stupid stunt, which always went pear-shaped, they'd get a fire extinguisher and it's like cool his balls off at the fire extinguisher. It was pretty funny. I used to love Paul Hogan. What? Hang on, it's moving. Where is it? Why do elephants paint their toenails red? To hide in the cherry trees. Ever seen an elephant in a cherry tree? Nope, works, doesn't it? Here we go, more jokes. What's the difference between a truck of bowling balls and a truckload of dead babies? You can't unload bowling balls with a pitchfork. Yeah, it's the same sort of thing. Back off on the amps. What's the amps, John? Oh, John, do you need your windscreen moldings back? Because I've got them surplus. Back off on the amps, buddy. I don't know what that is. Cage truck from Japan. Don't know what that is either. Thanks for answering my question. You're welcome. Those jokes would have been unavoidable working in a mechanic shop. Oh, they say worse than that. G'day, Neil. How you going? Mechanics say awful things, and they say to make your mum and your sister. And you've just got to have a hard shell, because if you show any weakness of that, they keep going. What's the difference between a truckload of babies? Oh, you can't pitch for you. Baby jokes were huge in the 80s. Every second joke was a baby joke. How do you think you're going to feel when the XC is finished? It's been a job waiting to be done for a long time. Will it feel weird? No, it'll feel great. It just went on too long, you know what I mean? And it did my head in. The XC's been a bastard. And, you know, it's, you fix one thing and you find two more. And a lot of it wasn't the fault of the car. A lot of it was the fault of some of the parts I bought. Not fitting, repro stuff. Some of it was the fault of the guy that had the car before me that absolutely demunted it. You know, it was just a difficult individual car. How come you can't find as many X Series Fords as H Series Holdens? Maybe the X Series Ford people are hanging on to them. I don't know. Hang on a second. What's he got? Brycey, you making false promises again. Yes, because you will enjoy life when you have my Falcon and our Tirana. What Falcon? You've got to keep that there. You can have that dash frame if you want it. I'm going to give some of that stuff to Andy Brook. And also, John Parnas, I need to hear from you. Because I want to know if you need you donated a stack of parts to me. One of them was a set of wiper linkages, which I used in the car, but I've got the car's one here. So you can have that one back. And the lower screen moldings you gave me, I didn't use because another guy, he donated a full set and I used those. So I've got them there for you, John. I can pack them off and send them to you if you like. Because I know when you gave me those was before you got the other car. Tirana, yeah, your dad's got to ring me. If he rings me, I'll take the Tirana. I'll buy the Tirana. There's a bloke on YouTube with the 4x4 XYU. They're really, really rare. I remember those when they were new. It's rusty as hell and he's currently hunting for a new shell. Don's Tricks does XY shells. He might have a couple of them there. Does my daughter still have the old Corolla? She sure does. Police Sergeant Donner from Paul Hogan. Yeah, not the gut, not the gut. Don't give me the gut. John, the guy trying to... Oh, I see. Is that what you were talking about? Let me know about those trims. Yeah, the trucks are the miniature Japanese trucks. Huge thing over there. Are they like those Nissan Cube things? Is that what you're talking about? Not sure you've done any E-Series Fords. Sorry. The algo blocked me. Would love to see you do an EDP one. The one I want, if I was going to do that, and the same as you, is what my friend, I forgot his name, so he can't be corrected. He is a good friend. Just had a mental block. From the SSV POM. What's his name? Oh. He's got a GXL. He's got a 351 manual GXL. Andy Brook. He got himself a really nice white Ute, a XH, I think it was, and he's just got another one, but a V8 one. And the one I like, there's someone around here who's got this aquamarine coloured long reach V8 XF looking Ute, and I thought, yeah, I'd love one of those. Oh, a kidnapping police car within a kidnapping bricks on the outside. Don't. If there's any police officers here, we're not prejudiced against police officers. We love the cops. John, so do you want me to send him back? Yeah. Yeah, call me in a week. All right, I'll hang on to them for you. Mike C will use your dash facer so you get the fixed car in return. I don't need another XC, buddy. Oh, there's no room. I could probably squeeze the Toronto in, but anyway, that's up to your father. Mike's B was dragged in from the bush. Sold bush flats in the desert, cobbled together by some guy who drove it 1,300 kilometres to the Red Centre, and that's a couple of years ago. Still a good car to have. No action on the Bluebird, but there's about to be. I want to start driving it. I'm going to let the Starling, when I read it around the windshield, I'm going to let that harden over the winter. And I've just been driving Susie's car. She's coming back in a week. And I think it's a week. What is it today? The 7th. Yeah, she'll be back in about a week because she's got to go into her school and she'll take the car then. So I've got my Commodore. And yeah, so I'll get the Bluey going. Oh, so they're not a cube, they're a small ute truck that have, have a Google. Yeah, I'll have a look. Mighty car might do like that. What's my plan to use the Bluey for? Daily. I like a couple of dailies. VH Valiant Ranger. Neil, what on earth, I'll put it that way, is your thing with VH Valiant Rangers? Why not a Regal? At least the Regal's got a nicer interior. I picked up, okay, so Neil and I went to primary school together. I met Neil when I was 13. Neil's just besotted with Falcon GTs. And he on his bedroom wall, he used to have Monaro 454. He loves big V8s. And I bought this. He found a VH Ranger 245 column auto. It was $100 or $200. I think it was $100. In Doncaster, we went and picked it up, and I bought it. And it had been run out of transmission fluid, and the clutches were fried, and I made the worst noises from the transmission. But I got it home, and I had it for, I'm going to say, a couple of months. And every time I looked at it, I just thought it looked oppressive. I wasn't interested in it. And so I moved it on. Now I find out he absolutely loves them. I would have given it to you. I would have said, take it, Neil. It's yours and it's free. It could be Polynesian green. I'll tell you what it was. I'm going to copy that. Stop moving. Polynesian green. It was beautiful. I'm just going to go here. I can't see this. Ford Polynesian green. And enter. Yeah, it was. I think it was that color. Images. And yeah, that's it. That's the color it was. Polynesian green. Good for you. I would never have known that. That color was the jam in the early mid-90s. Yeah, it's like the same with the Starlet's turquoise as well. And Ford had a turquoise on the EF. These are Kai vehicles or key vehicles. A type of small vehicle in Japan that has to be a certain engine capacity, 700 cc. Oh, okay. It's a cheap reg on that. Are they turbo? Can we find Warwick? I want Warwick Russ. See if we can find Warwick Russ. I don't know where the hell he is. I don't know if he's still alive. He should be. I worked with him at White Horse Motors in Blackburn. We did Volvo, Jaguar, and Rover. We used to go on Horse. Warwick Russ was the centre of socialising. He was the one that used to organise everyone going there. He was a lovely bloke. He was single and he ended up hooking up with this girl and he had a daughter. The daughter's name was Sophie. She'd be 26 to 30 around there. I don't know how old she is. I remember his girlfriend being pregnant. And he had this XY351. He was a great guy, really good, really good guy. And I'd really love to see him. I'd love to. And there was another guy there, David Cathy. He was a good mechanic too. And David Cathy was a short guy. He's a corporate sort of bloke now. I found him. And he was doing the plugs on an XJS. An XJS front guard's alloy. And he was nearly had the Jaguar guard covers on. And if anyone's done the plugs on a 12-cylinder Jaguar, a prick. and you got to lift, I think, the fuel rail and the air conditioning and all sorts of stuff off them. And he was kneeling on them doing these plugs, and Jade give you something like 5.5 hours to do them, or it takes about that to do them. And when David got off the car, he took the guard covers off. It was like corrugated iron, and they had to get Mr. Tap Tap out to fix it. He nearly lost his job for that. Oh, Charlie's screaming. Oh, hang on. Two-door Ranger. Oh, there's been a lot of communication. Stop it, Charlie, please. Come in and say hello. Yeah, I want to phone him. Can't wait to see the XC finish. Also, what was that channel with the crazy guy playing with electricity? Photonic induction. He is mental. I found this other channel today about smashing fans and stuff, and I was going to put an excerpt at the back of that off my fan video, which is next. But he's not funny. He just does it with the golf club. But photonic induction, this guy must have a big power pole cable or something coming into his house, because he's melting screwdrivers with about 5,000 amps. He's nuts, and he does it on his lounge room floor. He is absolutely mental, but he's good to watch. Apparently, he's got a mental illness, and he's not around at the moment. I don't know what happened to him. I did see him at the White Horse. You mean Warwick Russ? He had a business in New Street called Warallen, because that was his middle name, Warwick Allen, and he was doing automotive repairs, but that was like 2001. I haven't seen him since. Two-door Ranger is super rare. I didn't know you could get one. Call me sad. I used to have a poster of the EF Falcon on my wall. When I first saw the EF, I saw one in turquoise and thought to myself at the time, that has to be the nicest looking Falcon I've ever seen. It's not now, because, you know, but at the time when it was new, I just thought, wow, that is beautiful. And my girlfriend at the time and I went to the Gold Coast and hired one. And I found it nice to drive, but boring a little bit. But, you know, it was still a beautiful car. Maybe best not to read this one out loud. What's the difference between a policeman's baton and a magician's wand? Yeah. A hardtop Falcon on the wall. EF Falcon hardtop. What? Oh. Yes, Neil, good times indeed. And Neil's got it. He's like me. He remembers the smallest details from 40 years ago. And I asked him about this guy. He was like a seedy used car salesman, and he lived up the road from Neil. And we went to see him, and he had this pretty mint, by today's standards, it was a Minter XL Falcon. And I said, how much? He goes, 100. And I wanted to buy it. My parents would never let me have a car, because I let John have one, Austin Freeway, and it sat there, it did nothing, and he used to piss them off. So they made the futile mistake of letting me have a motorcycle instead. But I really wanted, I wanted one of every model of Falcon when I was a kid. And I had little boxes of stuff to put on each model, of course, to restore them. And, you know, there were things like wheel nut covers for an XD, a 5.8 batch, you know. I was 14 or something. And that's all I had, you know. I didn't have a welder or, you know, a angle grinder, and I didn't know how to use a gun and all that sort of stuff. But I had wheel nut covers from an XD, and I had some hubcaps, and I had some 5.8 badges. And we always, my brother bought a 5.8 badge, and I bought one. We bought them for our bedroom doors. And his friends used to come and then polish them, the XD ones, the brushed silver one. And actually, I've still got, I think, 2 4-barrel red ones, genuine Ford ones, Motorcraft ones, and the 5.8 that goes on the air cleaner and the rock cover. I've still got a few of those around. And they're still in good condition. Early 90s, you could barely give X Series Fords away, yeah. They were nothing. What it would be like to go back 25 years with a crystal ball, save up 100 grand, which no one can do, but maybe borrow 100 grand, go back to 1993 and have a spending bonanza and buy a block of land and tarp them all down or something. I think we need to be very generous if you want a hardtop to be the next project. Yeah, I couldn't afford one. And I'll tell you this, Ford guys are going to hate this. I actually like the HKTG Holder Monaras 2-doors. I think they're just gorgeous. Surely the Bluebird is getting an SR20 and an all-wheel drive. Okay, so you had an all-wheel drive differential and everything for one of those, didn't you? I've still, oh yeah, you have still got the subframe drive shafts. You've just sourced an all-wheel drive box, an SR20 as well as an R200 diff. You know what I'd like to put a, oh, would I? I don't know. LJ's run a 2-door, so Bryce's old man's got a 4-cylinder one. This R20, I go well on that. Polynesian Green is a beautiful car. It looks great on the XH. An XG, XH Ute or van would be great to see. Even an XG Outback. I would have a Ute in one of those. I don't want a van. But I would have a Ute in one of those. I reckon they look mint. Yeah, the most amazing Valiant body, and that would be the hardtop one. I've just lost this bloody thing as well. Ah, this is getting away from me. Hang on, I'm talking too much. Where the hell is it? Yeah. K. Oh, is that what it's pronounced? K. Right. Big Clive. Boy, W. Are you talking about the electronic guy being Big Clive? Big Clive isn't a nutcase. He knows a lot. And so does photonic induction, but he's a maniac. The closest I've had to try the Chrysler product. SR20 Turbo and a starter would give Mum a heart attack. Have a look at Jason's channel. He's oh, I've forgotten what it's called. And he's put a turbocharger on a little Mazda 323, and it's a really slick looking little car. I said to him I'd love to buy it. Chrome plating quality seems to be the hardest to find nowadays. There's Ask John at Old School Auto Parts in Campbellfield. He has an old school guy that he uses. At least he did. I'm pretty sure he uses the same guy, but he did my front bumper on the XW, and it's mint. The triple plating stuff, apparently there's environmental issues with it, and a lot of people won't do it, which is why the chromie gets crummy. But I don't know that for sure. It's what I was told. Do you know what I mean? So best to ask John. The Suzuki Cappuccino is a good example of performance K car. Yeah. Photonic induction is whack as. Have you ever watched him? Oh, obviously you have. But you don't find that funny? I watched him and just thought, you know, I just couldn't believe it. I thought he was good. C3 bets. I often get holes drilled in the fender skirts for plug changes. Oh. Not sure if you ever knew Aussie 50. Yeah, I did. That was so sad, wasn't it? He did some interesting stuff. No longer with us. Yeah, Aussie 50 took his own life, didn't he? It was terribly sad. The first video I saw of his was when he blew up a washing machine by throwing rocks in it. It all sort of vibrated apart. Then the tub was sort of bouncing around his backyard. He was a funny guy. He knew what he was doing too. He was a bright guy. What wire do you use for your plating? Copper wire. Star Pro is another entertaining electronics YouTuber. He mostly does stuff with crazy powerful lasers. Is he the guy that sort of overacts? There's one of them that just really overacts, and I tried to watch him, but I wasn't going to into it. Sonny Blackpool. Blackpool's been my stomping ground when I was a kid. That's my curse today. Too many cars to want. ED Fairmont, VP Callaghan. Love VPs. My brother bought one home when he was at Penfold Holden or something, and it was a 50,000 K car. White 308 or 304 executive, and it was mint. I remember that, and I was trying to get Mum to buy it. Suzuki Swift GDI, BMW E30. I know, my list is huge. I want another Galaxy. I want another Mercedes-Benz 2-door. I want an XA. Never got an XA Falcon out of my system. Never had one. I had one. I wrecked it, and I want to reclaim my virtue by making a wrecked one good. What was that lead what was in that lead? Oh, what was it? Sorry, that led you to buy your Commodore? Being a manual in a wagon. All right, so I went to the motor show with John in 2008. It's when the wagon first came out, and I just thought, that is just beautiful. I thought it was lovely. I love the Commodores, the fact that the wheels are on the corners, there's not much overhang on them, and I love the flared guards at the front, and the fact that I wanted a V8 manual. And so I asked my brother, I said, you know what, I'm going to buy one. I had access to some money, and so I didn't have to borrow money for it, and he got 30% off it. So that car's in his name because he bought it through Holden, and we got 30% off. I think I paid 38 grand brand new for it, and it's a manual with a leather trim, and it's got a few other options in it. And I've thought a couple of times about selling it because I just don't use it. But I thought, no, I won't. I need to get it inside though. I was there when they hang on, you were there when which B12? Are you from Idols Motors? Do you remember Butcher Speed Route? I don't know what that is. I saw a great video of a 1998 Mirage with a 6G engine from a 3.8 Magna. It looks crazy. It would. Do you still have the Sigma? Yes, I do. If so, when's the turbo getting? All right, so the Sigma's paint's wrecked because I painted over really, really bad paint. I've got to speed up with my responses, so I've got to repaint the Sigma. But then it'll be mint again. Ford Laser KE Turbo all-wheel drive. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Street car culture. Jason got it looks like a Mazda Familia, which is it's a 323, and it's got the twin cam engine, the turbo, and he just got it on the road. And I'd love to get that, but that's going to be his daily. That's a nice little car, really nice little car that he's done there. Is that the Indian-looking guy? I don't know what he looks like, but pencil and fire with electrical current and then burn himself and stuff. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Photonic induction is fantastic. Shame he isn't making videos. He's mental. He's just freaking mental. So many dying trades. I know. Spot on about Aussie 50. I used to watch him as a kid doing some dark. He gave me something. He was a very, very switched on guy. Thank you, Aussie Bogan. Love your Falcons. Yeah, so do I. They're not going anywhere. Even if Suzanne takes everything, she's not taking the Falcons. I'll live in them. Do you remember Butchers? I don't know who that is. Electro Boom would be the one who always electrocutes himself. Yeah, he's the one that I didn't really like that much because I thought he sort of overdid it a bit. Where photonic induction would just be, let's go fuck this up. He was like that. He didn't care. And he had that Cockney sort of accent, and he was just a lad. You know what I mean? Did you see that XC ESP that just went for 300,000? Was that, and you might be able to, was that the last XC ESP 302 in the press photos? Is that the one? Went for 340 grand or something? I think the last of the Monaras before the Commodore-based ones were lovely. HZ LE, beautiful. With the honeycomb rims, which you can never balance because I had them on a Premier. Fully kitted to run SLO 5000 SLX is pretty spec as well. I love the Holdens. I had to weld the rocker cover on a V12 for wireless motors. Oh, so you know those guys. Do you remember Warwick Russ? I was just watching my guards getting worked on. I'm going to go and watch that in a minute. Will you come out to my place to see my cars one day? Yeah. Actually, there's our chaplain at school, Adam Bryant. It's a wonderful guy. And I mentioned it to him. And he goes, can we go and have a look? Because Adam's he's got this fully restored, beautiful HQSS, 253 4-speed. His dad bought when he was a kid, one of those stories again. And he did it through the Healy factory, and it's just gorgeous. And he really wants to come, so we'd probably make a day of it. If your father didn't mind, got to be through your dad. I don't know who Butcher Speak is, no. I had a BP SS manual with a 345 Hydrotrack. They are a nice car. Very nice. I never liked the VNs that much, but I went to have a look at a VN, 28 grand new, an SS, but I did like the VPs. I like just anything that looks like a boat and handles like one. I think that's a good old land yacht. Yep. Still kicking myself for missing an XB GT Auto sunroof in green because I thought 15 grand was 3KT Rudge. I was stupid in my 30s. No one had a clue that the prices go. I don't even know what's a good XB GT worth. I remember seeing a green. It wasn't the normal green with silver. I can't remember the colour's name. If Neil's here, he'll know it. It did look like the lime green in Toronto. It was an XB GT, that sort of colour. That had a sunroof and a top load, and it was 70 grand. And I thought, gee, that's a lot. I would buy that if it was cheaper, but I couldn't get 70 grand. Shame you didn't grab one of those Triple S Pulsars. Yeah, I like those. One of my dream cars in my early 20s had an N13 Pulsar Q and an N16 ST. Both manuals, cool cars, didn't need high horsepower, fun to drive. Goes back to the thing, well, the Pulsars with the SR20s, they actually are capable of some pretty good speed. The standard 1600, what's it called? Something 16, JS16, I think. They weren't that quick, but it goes to the thing. It's like those little Starlings. They're not fast at all, but gee, they're fun when you're really flinging them out. Hello, Mark. You donated some stuff to me too. What did Mark Stella? You donated the camber pins, I think, didn't you? For the XC. How are you going? Never registered. I know you're a movie guy, so what's Short Time 1990? I don't know what Short Time is. Might be worth watching that. I recently picked up a Rover Tomcat, a little turbo coupe based on the Civic Rover R8. Lots of fun for $2 grand. Needs paint, hence the price. Little turbos are great fun. My first and only car is an HG with a 350 bought 16 years ago. Hang on. Where? This disappeared. I only had motorbikes. That is your superannuation. keep that. I keep asking about the bikes because although I enjoy watching a car race, I'm a bike guy. I'm currently working on a 62 CJ 750 sidecar. Wow. Oh, the gear interior light. Sorry. Yes, that's in the car too. And it looks beautiful. Okay, how you going? What's this? Ever ventured to Penlink? No, I haven't. Peninsula Link, yeah, I know about it. I've got a friend that goes there, but I've never been down there. I always meant to go to the BP servos opposite each other on Eastlink. Is it called Eastlink? You know, but never ended up going. The movie Short Time could be based on my life. So yeah, I got to bring the cars out. You still have the pillar lights, do you? Oh, at least I caught up. Wow, I've been going for an hour 20 minutes just talking crap for an hour 20 minutes. To believe that? I just enjoy coming on here and talking. It's not much fun when you get trolled. The last time I came in here, there was some trolls, but they weren't the ones from school. I said I know the ones from school when I see them, but yeah, they've sort of stopped that now, I think. Too much drinking. Yeah, I need to get another one. I have to take it out for ripping my turbo N15 Triple S bugger. Is that a SR20? Full front wheel kilowatts, 150 bugger, let it fly. Currently building an SR20. Okay, I'm not sure what VAT. 270, bloody hell. That will be nuts. You'll have to have like front runners on the back and massive rubber on the front and ladder bars to keep it down. Did I ever see metal skin? No, I never saw metal skin. If you want to extend your workshop, why not grab one of the marketplace, one-off marketplace? I've got to make it look presentable. You do see people giving sheds away, but they're normally pretty screwed. I mean, I suppose you could paint it, couldn't you? I don't know whether I'll be here or I'm going to have to move. That's all. I don't want to move, but I like it here. It's so convenient. But if I move, I'll have to move further out. And even moving house is $100 grand. So it's like, well, if I can stay here and I want to stay here, well, I'll put a bit of room on the garage, I guess. But as I said in that thing, that the backyards, there's so much dog fecal matter that the kids don't pick up, and I end up picking it up, and I've had enough because I stand in it all the time, and I'm like, Lord, it's a pain. This sort of is sporadic. It's speeding up and slowing down. Should I give away? Oh, I've lost it again. Where is it going? Should I do a giveaway on my XC because I have too many? How many XC? You've only got one XC though. Council permits for garages are insane. So many hoops. That's what I hate about it. Lucky Woods, evening, Pete. Hope you're well. I am. Previously asked about some closed chamber clipper heads and the costage involved in a Rico. Got them done by a bloke in Croydon for $1,100. Heads are dear. I know because the guy at Speedworks said something like $600 or $700 each as well, and that's huge. But it's like, what was I going to say? I was thinking of using the Wolsey Car Club president's son. He's got a machine shop. I can't remember what I want to. Metal Skin was based in Melbourne, mid-90s. Some high-power holds and valves. A Ben Middleton film. Can you say hi to me? Hi, Heidi. Is that spam? Move or not move, it'll be a good thing. Yeah. I've just got to get it all sorted, all this separation stuff and that sort of stuff. Same block as an SR20, but they have a lighter, a high-flowing head. God. Variable valve lift to compete with Honda's VTEC. They flow around 40% more than a standard head. Jesus, they float well, I thought. Okay, so I'm having trouble with this because I have no idea what people are talking about. Bill Block, yes, I knew him when I grew up with him. Who was that? Was that Ben Mendelsohn or I don't know. I meant too many cars altogether. I have 2 XCs. You can have. I'm going to give Andy Brooks some stuff. So okay, some of the stuff that was donated, I've just got to get hold of Bobby Smith because he donated the door trop things, and if he wants those ones back, I'm going to send them back to him. And the other one was John Parnas. I'll send him a text. He was, I think he was preoccupied on here. I don't think he heard me, and I'll send those moldings and stuff back to him. And if Bryce wants that dash fascia, he's welcome to that. I don't mind. But there's just a box of just crap, you know what I mean? And it's, I think, and Andy Brook wanted some of it, and he's been very supportive. So I was going to hand it to him. The first car was a Raven Black XL Futura. That's rare. That's rare. It's ready to your out buckets console one. $500 in 1982. Yeah, look, it probably was reasonable, but I know. But see, the guy I use at Speedworks, he's not cheap, but he's brilliant. You know what I mean? And his knowledge is incredible. So, if you paid $1,100 for a repair, that's probably a good price, yeah. Because I reckon he would have been $1,400 to repair my car. Lockie, you gotta go through his dad. Bogan Blokes is, he's the son. CL wagon with cold air intake snorkel, mad out of air conditioning ducts. I liked Mighty Carmites when they used leaf blowers on a charade or something. It was funny. I liked them when they used to do stuff like that. I haven't watched them in years because I like the working out of Marty's mum's garage and doing stuff like that. Buying a diet set for $50 and it's full of loaded dingers and all this stuff. I thought that was funny. Yeah, so you've got to go through his dad, but his dad gets sick of people trying to buy cars off him. It's a sort of a catch-22 again. How are you going? Yeah, I'm too much drinking. No, not too much drinking, am I? Good evening, Tobis. How are you? I have a mint very low K. I watched all your content. Very informative. And wait for more on my Sigma. Turbo or dual DCOE Webers? Turbo. Any day of the week. Turbos are good because they're just docile, normal. You can drive them around. They're very... Webers are a pain in the ass. The trouble with Webers is you lose all your airspeed, and they're very chuggy until you get them on song, if you know what I mean. Whereas turbochargers, you don't even know it's turbo until you put your foot into it. I might have a break. Right, so this is the deal, right? I need to get another cup of tea. It's an hour 24. I can quit now. If you want to give me 5 or 10 minutes, I can come back. Do you reckon that's about enough, or do you reckon that's worth coming back? Your choice. Okay, make a choice. Make a decision, because I've got some time. I've got about another hour available, and then I better do some work. Oh my God, it's not working. Staying, are we going? What are we doing? I need to go and get another cup of tea, and I just want to stay and talking comments. Keep chugging. I love that tune. I mean, Weber's equals fire. Yeah, I'm not into. They look great. I love the look of Weber's, but give me a turbo any day. Well, yeah, I'm gonna go and have a cuppa. Do you want me to just like push this up here so you can just look at those boats? What do you think? I'll be back. Hello, Claire. How are you today? Are you well? Hang on. Oh, well, we've lost some audience, but let's have a look. Where are we up to? What are we talking about? Hang on a minute. Let's see if I can. Is there a spider up there? Was it a huntsman? A big one? Smoke up, Pete. Having one too. Could have 3 more cars, but yeah, smoke's expensive. Hi, Pete. I have a low kilometre rear wheel drive SR20 on a running stand. Had it 20 years. Don't know if to put in anything. If it's rain or happens, I can get in touch. I'd love to see it in something. Tempting. SR20s, I mean, they're in Sigmas, they're in bloody everything now, aren't they? Very, very good engines. Brilliant engines. I was at Nissan when they came out. Great. My problem is, every time I sell a car, I regret it. So I decided, Jay Leno said, never sell a car. So I thought, I'm going to take your advice. I might be in a position now, I have to, but I wouldn't have a clue which ones to sell because I sort of love them all, you know what I mean? You sort of, particularly on a car where you do a restoration, you spend, like the XC, that's got to have 1,500 minimum hours in it. And the, minimum, more than that. The XW was much quicker. I probably, at a guess, 12 to 1,300 hours in the XW. And it's like, you sort of get to the stage and you think, well, that much time, that much invested in that, it's not just about the money, it's about the time. It's like, you know, why are you going to sell that, lose money, I suppose, on labour? You wouldn't lose money in a monetary sense, given what you put into it. Only to give it to somebody else. I don't want that. Oh, there's these fan blades. Look how well they turned out. Like brand new. Oh, there's these fan blades. Look how well they turned out. Like brand new. I mean, this isn't everyone's bag, right? Cooling fans. And the little hub thing is there. It's like brand new. I can't see even a scratch on it anywhere. And I've given the rest of the stuff to John at Furniture Building Hydroblasting. So I thought, you know what, I'll just rewire it, and because the cord was knackered and the lead going up from the switches into the motor was knackered. Hello, Mute, how you going? Mute. And then I thought, give it a full-blown paint job. Why not? Because it was always going to look shabby. If I put it together, it would have looked just cleaned up. But I thought, I might as well do. Who's that? Hello, Charlie. I'm on a live feed. Are you going or coming? Going, obviously.
Well, I assembled my makeup table.
Oh, yeah. How'd it go?
It's an inch longer than I thought.
You got to measure stuff. Does it fit?
did.
So it's getting in the way of the door, is it?
No, like it measures, but like the skirting's an inch longer than I thought. So,
Whoops.
yeah. So I just stole Rosie's chair.
Which? Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So when you look in my room, everything will be different.
Okay. I'll come and have a look in a minute. I'm well, Patrick. How are you today? Where are you from? Are you local? I recognise the name. So while I'm waiting for XC parts, I'll do this fan, and then I think we'll get into the Bluebird. I'd like to get another car. I want to get another project car, but I've just got no money and nowhere to put it, so it's kind of fruitless, isn't it? I was coming down for a course next before your lockdown. It's been postponed till December. God. Oh. Any recommendations on what to put a clevo in a clevo motor to give it maximum punch for bucks? So a boat motor, you're looking for top end, don't you? Cam wise, Dick Johnson always said it's all in the heads. So maybe some of those 3V alloy heads, but then I don't know how it goes at freshwater or saltwater boat. And yep, I'm in Grovedale, Victoria, Australia, which is part of the regional area of Victoria and Australia. Oh, cool. How's the Honda and Suzuki Restos going? Well, the 354 is on my front porch because the starlet's in the garage. And the, yeah, I'm going to get into those, I think, next. Maybe I can knock over a bike or two while I'm waiting for the XC parts. The XC I want on the road in spring. Oh, now my connection's unstable because Rose is on Netflix. XJ Cherokee post 97 as a project car. Oh, I could never fit that. I wouldn't even fit that in the driveway. What's the plans on the Bluey? Keeper? Yeah. It was $800. It owes me about $1,000 now. Well, maybe a bit more. No, it owes me more than that because I bought new disc rotors and new pads and put those in, and I bought all the head-up display stuff through Andrew Langford. And yeah, Ocean Grove, I know we were. So the Bluey's a worthless car, and they're just such a nice car to drive, and they're just kitted out. Ocean Grove, I know we were. So the Bluey's a worthless car, and they're just such a nice car to drive, and they're just kitted out. You're not going to make it, you'd lose money if you sold it, and I did it because I had one and I really liked it, but at the time I had to sell it because it was the only thing I was in debt for, and I sold it for 24 grand when it was fairly new. I lost 6 grand. I paid 30 for it. Bottom end in a Clevo, they're very strong anyway. The Cleveland main bearing caps are recessed in the block. There's a shoulder on them, and you can, modify the bottom end, put a girdle on it, and that sort of thing. But it depends on what sort of revs you're thinking of doing. Clevos can rev very, very high and be fairly safe. I would change out the rods, and also make sure you get your crank crack tested and that sort of thing, because some of the 77 model 350, I would change out the rods, and also make sure you get your crank crack tested and that sort of thing, because some of the 77 model 351 cranks, local ones, were full of cracks. I know that because I had one. Australia's a decent suburb. Personally, much safer than Corio, from what the locals have said around the region of Victoria. To pull fat bastards out of we need low end if you're thinking about pulling fat bastards out of the water. Can you run a Pertronics ignition with a yellow top coil? It would depend on the resistance of the yellow top coil. So when I got mine, my brother gave me my Pertronics, and they recommended their go-to coil was a flamethrower, but it's not a yellow top. It's still a tin can sort of coil. It's not a transformer type. But you'd have to find out. You'd have to find out what the resistance was and if it was compatible, because some of them have different resistance. Don't sell the Fords or the Siggy. I don't want to sell anything. A cup holder from that model Bluey. They turn up at Pick Apart in Kilsyth. You're close to them. Do a search. Go Pick Apart, and also in Jolly's. Jolly's have got 3 yards. They've got one in Dandenong, one in Ringwood, and one somewhere else, Shepparton or something. I don't know where it is. And just have a look at the inventory. And Bluebirds, the ones at Pick Apart, they were there a while, and they didn't sell an awful lot of stuff from them. They're not a popular car, which is great for a daily, because you don't want a popular car, because then, and their prices are great. I had to put a radiator in mine. that was $50, you know, because it had a coolant leak. There was a bit wrong with mine, but you know, I've got Series 2 wheels. What do I pay for those? Bugger all. Series 2 wheels are the same as Series 1, but they've sort of got more polished bits on. The blue is for someone special, eh? Well, me. Whoever wants to drive it. It's an Automagic, so any of the kids can drive it. Hello from the States, Peter. Hello, Brian. Getting ready to pop into work. Thanks for all your hard work in the videos. The process of building a 408 Clevey. Wow, Clevo. Gosh. Oh, you're in New South Wales. Yeah, well, there'll be other pick-apart type joints up there in Sydney. You've got a huge custom car sort of, a big car culture up there. Oh, God, my phone's ringing, and that will be my mother. Was that my mum?
Yeah, do you want to answer?
Yeah, just talk to her. I'm just doing a feed. Tell her I'll ring it back. I spoke to her quite. Oh, has it? I'll call her back after. She's bound to ring again though, and I'll call her back. Yeah, 8:45. Yeah, I'll ring her back in about 15 minutes. Oh, okay. So Jolly's have a yard down in Geelong. I found Jolly's nowhere near as good as Pick Apart because they're. Well, it depends on the staff. Jolly's tend to charge it for every nut and bolt, and Pick Apart are a little bit more lenient with that. But it just depends. It depends on who's serving it, but they're both pretty much the same sort of thing. Pick Apart's huge. It's a big joint. And so for things like the engine stand I was making for that little Morris engine or Austin engine, whatever it was, I just walked around all different cars till I found a radiator in one that I wanted and picked it up out of a Honda Civic. I'll just grab this just a sec. Hi, Mum. How are you? Oh, it was in the kitchen. Can I call you back in about 10 minutes? Okay. Okay then. Bye. Yes, I will talk to her. I talked to Mum for almost an hour. She is a lot better now, and she talks on the phone for a long time. And so she'll ring back in about 10 minutes and I'll call it quits then. I wanted to try and stretch this out. I haven't done a 2-hour feed before, and I thought, I might as well make it. Hi, Mum. Yeah. A landline. Yes, I do have a landline still. And they've all got the same number. Susie's mobile, my mobile, and landline all have the same last 6 numbers. XA is looking mint. Can't wait until mine's all done. XA Coop guy is a talented man. He is indeed. He's doing a great job with the guards. I'd also like to see a bit more of the XD as well. I don't really have much to do with the XD. I've got a bit of service in that, but I don't really want to do a video on doing an oil change on a Falcon. But I didn't restore this phone. No, I bought that phone. This is one of these. Hang on, can I lift it up? Oh, I can't. The cord's not long. Oh, it's one of these ones, right? I bought it when I first moved out of home. And it's got a cassette answering machine in it. But of course, it's not plugged into the mains. I just use it for the receiver. But with the mobiles, you just put it on speaker and it's just easy using those. I found actually the landline is you get those stupid spam calls from the internet providers and this sort of stuff, and I'm not interested in that. But no, I haven't restored the phone. I have got a couple of those because I've got all this Metro stuff. Those old plastic coloured ones with the rotary dial thing. I've got a couple of those, and yeah, I've actually mucked around with one of those. I like old stuff. That's just how I am. And that clock you see there, that electric clock. It's sort of an Art Deco one I picked up for about $8 at Car Boot, so it still works. All right, so I'm going to have to wind this up in a few minutes because Mum's going to ring back. Fan's not to everyone's taste, so I'm going to do it. I found a guy that's got the same one as this, and he smashed it with a golf club, so that can be the joke at the end of the next video, I guess. Students won't know how to use a dial phone. Well, they know how to do a lot of things I don't know how to do, I guess, with technology, but some of the older tech isn't really valid anymore. The world runs away from all this old stuff, and you have to take on the new, and I find it really unreliable, like the what do you call it, the broadband, the NBN. It goes out about every fortnight for a short time, sometimes all night, and the copper Optus internet never failed. Never failed. I think it failed once, and that was the box on the side of the house. I think I mentioned that in a video. But the old stuff's just saying it's like the cars. I mean, these cars that we're driving around now, these old cars, you can keep them going literally forever. Where the new ones, the electronics, will get so complicated and so expensive to repair that they'll get written off prematurely, I would think. T5 V8 gearbox, they do show up on eBay every now and then. Simply better than put cassette. Yeah, it's one of those mini cassettes. I had a what do you call it? A pocket recorder years ago that a kid at school brought in, and we interviewed each other as to why another kid was a prick. So it's kind of bullying. But I kept one of these. There's one in a drawer. An ex-girlfriend, when I broke up with her, gave me some really, really bad messages, and I kept it in case, I found a boiled rabbit on the front doorstep or anything. But they're good like that. I prefer it because it's tangible and you can pick it up, but I don't use this. So everything's voicemail these days. Thanks, Lockie. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. How to go with the Starly screen? I'm just standing off the excess primer. I mentioned it a couple of times in this. The urethane primer interfered with the paint and the high fill primer. The etch primer is unscathed under there, but I'm taking it all off in that area, and I'm going to put some 2-pack etch, polyurethane etch in there. 2-pack, what do you call it? Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. It's a 2-pack etch primer that's moisture resistant, and I'll get that fitted once it's all cured and gone off and all that sort of stuff. No, cars just aren't built as good as they are today. In some ways, yeah. They're just too complicated now, and they just don't have the longevity. And the other thing is the new cars just don't have the driving experience. They almost, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, they encourage you to be bad drivers. You don't even have to turn around to reverse anymore. Everything's got a camera. Everything's automated. It's not, you're much closer, to use a Top Gear reference, you're much closer to your motoring in an older car. You can feel it. You can choose the gear you're in. The climate control will stay where you last had it. It won't default to something you don't want. I like the old cars because they do exactly what you tell them to do. As an older man, I would prefer a new one because I won't be as capable, I wouldn't think. Hello, Mother. Hello, Father. Yeah, that's old, that song. So, yep, that's it. I better run. My mother will be coming back any minute, and I'd like to talk to her. I had a stalker girlfriend. I don't know what happened to her. I think she's married with a couple of kids now. Escort panel van color choices. What was available for that year model? Originally white, but has bad vacuum cleaner. Home job in gunmetal grey. Oh, yeah. No, get rid of that. Where do you go for your auto rubber kits? I don't buy auto rubber kits. I tend to, with the XW, it was very cheap to do because I bought rubbers as they came on special individually and didn't get some of the rubbers I didn't need. The door rubbers for the XW weren't Rare Spares ones. Rare Spares stuff's hot and cold. The ones I got were brilliant. They fitted straight away and they're half the price of everyone else's, and I can't remember what they were. Yeah, that's why I like the old cars. Camera's good and all that, but the waist height, the waistline on the new cars is much higher than the old ones, and the visibility is not as good. They're more dangerous. Look, Starlet, you might as well be on a skateboard. And so there's that to contend with as well. So with the kids coming up, and I give them advice at school, I always say buy the most modern and best car you can afford. But thank you very much for joining me. This has been a really good one. I've enjoyed this immensely.
Hi, sorry I'm interrupting. Do you have a milk frother?
A what?
The milk frother, the electric one.
Milk frother?
Yeah, it's a...
there's one in a box under the house, a little battery one. Is that the one you're talking about?
Is it like now?
Oh no, that's a mug, electric mug.
It's like a.
Yeah, it was a battery one. It was like $3 at Kmart. That's under the house. I saw it today. You can have it if you want.
I bought it like 5 minutes ago.
Move that cardboard thing. I don't know why that's there. And where's that mug Alana bought me? There's a
No, I
mug.
don't want a mug.
No, there's a mug that you fill
No,
up, and it's
I'm
got a
actually-
frother built into it.
Hi everyone.
Hang on,
No,
is there a
because,
dog
like-
behind me? There's a dog behind me. Yeah, Cleo, can you move?
Cleo,
Because I don't want to run over your tail. Stay there.
No,
love.
because like I was trying to make a hot chocolate and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, we have a milk frother.
We have, but you're better off using. Alana bought me a cup for Father's Day.
I
and
don't
it's
want
got,
that though.
Yeah, I know, but it's got batteries in it, and it's got a no. Whatever.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Oh, nice. I got that. Yeah, I can't remember what I was up to. Do you store cars with friends? No, I've done. Charlie, stop it. I don't want to see that. I've done a couple for people over the years, but I tend to stay away from that because it's kind of very stressful when things don't go right. Where if it's your own car and something doesn't go right, you get pissed off and you walk away and you come back a few days later and you don't care, you just fix it, you know what I mean? But when it's somebody else, it's much more complicated. I've got to go. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you soon. Hello. Yeah, sure. How are you?